Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Etheloric Plays Go. And today we'll be looking at this 9 stone handicap that I played with a 18Q. So they're a relative beginner. They know a little bit of Go, but 9 stones is not quite enough to cover the gulf between us. Still, I promised that I would make it worth their while by turning this into a review. I think this will be helpful for them and also a bunch of other players who are new to the game. Once again, going through a lot of videos or a lot of games with beginners, either myself as a beginner or handicaps like this or whatever people send me. The idea is just to build up a library of positions so that we can start making lectures to start making things that can generalize. So yeah, that's what we're doing with this video, and I'm sure that they'll learn a lot from this. And if they look at other 9 stone handicap games, they'll probably learn a lot and come forward quickly. But anyway, so we'll start with this position. So normally, let's just say black responds. White is very, very, very behind in a 9 stone handicap game. And so as the handicap gets thicker, as there are more handicap stones on the board, white needs to play more proactively in order to catch up to black, which means that their overplays need to become more serious. So you can play a 2 stone handicap game, basically the same that you would play a normal game. You're just a little bit behind, and normally you can catch up. But then as the stones become thicker, as you start working up to 7, 9 handicap stones, you need to start playing as if you're stronger than you are. And the reason, so this is the idea, is to try and say like, oh, I'm going to play moves that are not normal. You don't normally play like this. Or like over here, we're going to play moves that they're not bad, they're not mistakes, but they're just a little bit weird. So white plays over here and then attacks. So the idea is to say, black, I'm going to attack you. And black, being very focused on their 1 stone, will say, oh no, I'm under attack, and we'll try and save it. But, if you look at white, and this is the key to handicap games, this is like at 9 stones, it becomes very clear what the strategy is. Yeah, like, look at white's shape. Does that look like strong shape to you? I don't think so. So you can just play here and keep white separated. Connection, disconnection, fundamental, and go. This is going to become a meme. I'm going to like write this on a t-shirt or something because I keep saying it every episode. But like this is the most important thing. Keep white separated, keep black separated, whatever, all the stuff. So just try and come through here. Or, just come this way because these stones are also not particularly connected, and this connection still, so like this, the way how white's playing is just clearly overplay. This is something that you can do, but I explain this to every student that I use this against, so this very quickly doesn't become an option. So, okay, so black plays here, pressing on white. This is okay, and then A. What I would say is that black is playing surrounding white's group, so white is under a lot of pressure, and in that sense, A is good. If you're a, how do I say, if you're a stronger player, then you can definitely pull off moves like A. But what I would recommend is just play moves that you'd play in a normal game. So if you were playing a game against, I mean, I guess you would still be confused if you play this against somebody your own rank. But if somebody else plays against you, you would easily play something like this, or just here, or just what I mean to say is you don't need to try too hard and make weird shapes. So A becomes a bit of a problem later in the sense that moves that you play on the 5th line leave a lot of space underneath them for invading, and that became a problem for this player later. So, if you're going to play high, then just play here, and then white will jump out, and the game will continue. This is still, black can just play here, and this is fine. This is basically a perfect game, except for maybe h15, but even h15 is not a mistake. So like, this is okay. So I played this move. I didn't want to push because then white is making black stronger, and if you're white in a handicap game, you don't have time to make black stronger. So that's why I didn't push. That's why I played this tiger's mouth, but this tiger's mouth is pre-peeped. So black already has a move here, and black can put their head inside the tiger's mouth, and now there are 2 cuts at A and B. White can only protect one of them because it can only play 1 stone at a time, and then black cuts. So that means white's surrounded, and we definitely want to surround in because they get cut off from the rest of the board. So black gets to make all these points on the outside here, and then white has to live with A. So this is a great result for black. But, okay, black doesn't see that and plays this way, and then kind of like pushes white, and then plays over here in order to make the territory on the left-hand side of the board. Still, if you look at the AI evaluation, I mean, it's true. I can't doubt this in any way. But black is still keeping their whole handicap. There's no mistake that's been played so far. I would prefer playing A at a different position. I would prefer having lower stones so that you're not as likely to get invaded. But that's basically the only thing I can fault so far. So I play this move. Black responds, and then I play over here, and black plays his shoulder hits, which is technically fine. What I would recommend to black is just if you can make white solid by pressing on them. I'll normally play this move because I don't like this exchange here because of how many points it makes for black in the corner. So I'm going to play this move instead so I don't force black to play A, and normally black will play R3 instead. White has this light shape here, and black is looking towards making more points at A. So this is normally you would my rule in the past was don't play Joseki, don't play moves that are even for both players, because if if black has a huge advantage, then playing Joseki is good for black. But what I found from watching the reviews or watching stronger players play handicap games is that weaker players make mistakes when it comes to playing Joseki. So that's why it's still technically okay to play it out. And also, I mean, I was about to say that the idea is that black makes mistakes during the course of the game, and that's what causes white to catch up. And so it's okay for white to just play normally. It's okay for them to just play Joseki. But what I would say is that if you're too mindless about it, black will solidify too quickly and too easily. So if black knows a lot of Joseki, they'll play a move like this and they will just solidify and not make mistakes, and the game will become too stable too quickly. So white needs to think about how to start fights, how to agitate black, and if they play too solidly, then that won't be good enough. So white does need to, and this is why white not make gross overplays, not leave weaknesses behind, but needs to think about these things. This is the tricky thing for white. Black can just play K2 and just keep the stones separated. If nothing else, if you're not going to just take territory, then keep the stones separated. These are things you should think of. So here, the shoulder hit. The only thing I would say about this is just have a plan for if white cuts here, because what happens is that white, and this I have another player, Horace, as that I've named in one of the previous games at this club. He always lets me out into the center, and that's bad because you want to keep white surrounded if you can. So because normally black should be making territory at A, but now they're not really. So this is good for white. Still, black is able to keep playing around white, and we play up to here, and so we play this exchange. I would say to be careful about making exchanges here. So this one is not so bad, but it's not very clear why you should play it. Like what I would say to this player is, and I'll call them octopus, and they'll have this name just so we can see their progress as they get stronger. But here, you need to be careful that if you make exchanges, what are you getting out of it? Like, what benefit did you get from playing A? And I don't see any benefit, so why should you play it? So even assume black plays somewhere else, white gets this Hane later, so you actually played a cost for playing A. So what did you get in return? Not much. But here it's even worse, because when white connects, it actually reveals this cutting point. You can see that the group at A has 3 liberties, and at B we have 5, but it quickly runs low. So what happens? Black connects, and now we have 2 groups, one with 3 liberties and the other one with 4 liberties. So if black tries to cut, then this cut becomes quite annoying. So, I mean, how does it get annoying? I mean, this just like obviously dies, so black needs to come from this direction. And then I guess we can play this way now, so maybe it's not so bad. You can play over here. Okay, maybe it's not so bad, but the point is that The issues are mounting. How do I say this? In Go, you want to manage your weaknesses. And if you are creating weaknesses, then they become more difficult to manage. So it's not that you lose the game right away by having these advantages, but these exchanges that you made here, they make the shape on the other side weaker. And if you're not mindful about this, and this is how white will eventually get their lead back again. So we have this Hane, white connects, and we get a lot of cutting points. So luckily it's not like what happens in the game isn't so bad for black, but there are a lot of cutting points here. So white cuts, and on the other side, and black realizes that it can't play from this direction because of this, and capture these stones. So yeah, but I can still capture these stones anyway, this stone rather anyway. Which is, it's good for white, because black was going to make all these points, and now black makes substantially less points, and they're surrounded. Which is good. So white gains in that interaction. And black descends here. What I'll say to this player is just be very careful about descending to the first line, because a lot of players descend thinking, oh yeah, that's Sente. But what if your what if your opponent doesn't play here? Say they play here, and you play this one, then what benefit did you get from playing A? Yeah, okay, maybe you can make a couple points over here, but this move at B is bigger than these 4 points. Like, it's not even clear to me that you even, like, you probably had some of those points already. So, like, not really worth that much. So, I'll come over here, and then over here. And what I would say is just play, this is Joseki, and I don't think this player knows yet, but you can exchange and then play this move. And the idea is that black connects, then black can try and come out and join up with this A stone. So this is what black's plan is. Very, very tricky move is that you can play here, and then playing this way. And yeah, this is basically what white can try instead. The idea is that if you are going to allow this, then you can play this move instead, and then see what sequence happens here. And if this sequence is okay for black, then there's no problem. So, okay. But you don't have to. If white pushes, and if you decide that you don't want to go through all this, then you can just attach here. And then black will be strong enough, and then the idea is that you can try and swallow A and make points that way. So you can see how the strategy is not to make points directly, but to keep white surrounded, keep them separated, keep attacking them, and through that then make the territory. And we'll get to why that is in a second. So here, this is one thing that you can do. That's not what happens. Black plays this one, and then white steps in, and then black plays C2. So this is already quite a good result, because if we compare it to what was happening with this, you know, like the eye space is getting pretty small. So this is it's probably going to be fine because it's not surrounded yet. But if black gets surrounded, they need to think about this. So and white makes some points in the corner, so that's pretty good for white. So white jumps out here, and then black tries to make points at A. And the reason, now we come to the reason why you shouldn't try and make points directly with influence. So here you say, oh yeah, I'm really strong in this area, I'm going to turn this in territory. And then I say, okay, well, your territory now. So now how many points do you make? You make, now I get to be fancy because I learned this the other day. So making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's say it's 18 points. So how did I do this? I right click, edit label, say this is 18. So, right? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's about 15. Yeah, let's say it's like 18 points. So this is, let's just say, so you made 18 points and you invested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Like 14 points for 18 points. Just imagine if we go back to the start of the game, say that you have a bunch of stones on the third line. You have a bunch of stones like this. If we ignore the territory, then each one of these moves is making 2 points. So that's kind of like a standard that you might think of for making territory. Like, it's not the only standard, but just, you know, that's one way to think about it. So if we go over here, and you're making 18 points with, you know, what was it, 15 stones? Sorry, that's 5, 9, 10, 14. that's less than 2 points per move. So actually, this isn't very big. And the other thing is, what if you peep, let's say white connects, and then you try and surround white, then if white dies, then you make more than 18 points. So, and then you get these stones on the outside. So that's basically why that's more important. And the thing is here, say we're pushing towards the thickness, we'll make that somewhere else, but also you'll probably still make some points with this wall over here. So when we're playing, the other thing as well is that when we're playing these moves, it's not just that the points per stone is low, but you would have made some of these points already. Like you might have made like, which of these points are you, like these ones here, you're very likely to just make. So it's not even really 18 points. So it's more like 1 point per stone. So that's like, that's not game losing. If you're 9 stones ahead, you can just convert in your influence into territory like this and still probably have a good game. But I mean, if once again it comes to if the handicap is fair, here our rank differences are so big that you definitely can't just convert it to territory. It's definitely not enough. So, yeah, if the handicap was such that it was too strong, then you could. That by definition, basically. So, okay, so I play this move here. Maybe what I could have tried is to try and play this move in Sente before playing here, because the idea is that, I'll try and kill you this way, and then maybe see, like, you'll try and break out and all of this. So maybe I don't have quite enough time. Maybe I have to play here, and then maybe you play here, but it's not alive. But I think it'll be okay. Okay for white, rather. It's not okay for black. So you can see that the eye space here is pretty small. That's the thing. So maybe I could try playing here first. I didn't, and then I played this peep, and then black gets to play over here, and that's why black gets to live. Fine, maybe black gets to live, but you've been surrounded and you live small, so that's not a good result. So that's, yeah, so once again, black loses a little bit of ground. And here, we realize the issue of playing on the 6th line. So, I guess what you can try and do is like Atari this way and come over here. And this way, it's probably difficult for white to live. So this is how you might be able to handle this. Just connecting, black descends, that's still not so bad. You can imagine playing over here, and then it's still a bit of a problem for white as to what they do. But here you attach, and what I would say is just be very careful. You're playing very tightly around white. You don't have to play so tightly. If white is dead, they will be self-evidently dead. It will become apparent that their move wasn't a good one. So don't be like strangling white, because by strangling them, they will slip through your fingers and live. So you don't need to do that. You can just take it easy. So here, and yeah, so I get this Hane here, and that damages this stone quite a bit. So like you notice you can't just play here, because I can just capture it. So by playing so close to white, you make your shape weaker. I think instead of playing this one, you can also play over here, just taking the corner, and then, well, yeah, I didn't realize this isn't a variation of the game, but the point is that the game continues, and if you come down to here, then white will probably be dead. So this is what I'm going for. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. The point is just don't strangle them. And so I came over here. I can still play over here and do it this way. And if you extend, then I can capture. So this not, and I'm looking to cut black off over here. So I think the thing is in handicap games as well, as you like capture stones and like the rest of this shape, the rest of the groups become like disproportionately weaker. So, and then they start becoming incoherent, and then they stop making sense, and then it all kind of falls apart. So white comes here into the corner. Black is dead with those 3 stones, these ones here. The idea is that if you try and save them, like if you try and play move like this, it's black is just too easily surrounded, and if they move too quickly, then white will just cut them off. So something like this. Or here, perhaps, and you can come try and like, but then you have to like really struggle, and that's not good either. We'll talk about struggling in a second. So black is trying, it doesn't work, and then This exchange means that, yeah, okay, I mean, black was going to die anyway. This exchange doesn't work. White cuts him off. Once again, descending to these first line moves. You have to be careful with them because here, black actually only has 4 liberties. This has 4 liberties, and now even. But then when white plays over here, then the problem became clear. Like, oh, actually, if I play, I don't know if it became clear because if you play over here, then well, you get what happened in the game, and those stones die because I had this stone over here, A, from all the way at the start of the game. So all I mean to say is connect. Find your weaknesses and plug them up. Not all of them, but the ones that matter. And this one mattered. So this is what you want to do. So, okay, we played here, and then we get what happened in the game. Black can't make 2 eyes, and they're surrounded, and they die. And I can come into the corner as well, because while black was struggling, I got 018. So this is what I mean about struggling. If it's clear that your stones are captured, don't try and keep them. Just give them up. Admit that you made a mistake. If you don't admit that you make a mistake, and you insist that it's not a mistake by continuing to play, unless white also makes a mistake, then it's not, you hurt your own position. So this is basically what happened here. That while struggling, I got an extra move, and that meant that I could play in the corner here later. So, okay, and now once again we have a descent to the first line. Always, always, always just connect here. There are times when descending makes sense, but you should be specific over why you're doing it. Because you're leaving A behind. So just beware about that. So here, what I'm doing is I'm trying to, now that I've lifted in the corner, I'm going to go after these stones on the outside because they're not alive if I play this move. But the thing is that I think that, say that I need to connect this way, then black can easily come out. So, okay, white makes points. It's fine because black genuinely was weak, but they might not be able to go for the kill. So black plays here. I think what I should have done is played this exchange in this, because if I play this way, then there's a ko. Something like this. So if black wins the ko, then they're alive, and white didn't gain anything. So this could, because white has narrowed the gap in this game so much, I think it's a bit risky. So black doesn't do that. I fix my problem, and now I'm going slowly. So I'm trying to block their way into the center, and there's no way to make two eyes with this shape. And after I cut black off, they need to now rely on white's weaknesses in order to live. So what weaknesses does white have? You can make this exchange maybe over here. Yeah, white won't be able to let black connect. And what next? Is that alive? That looks alive to me. I mean, you can imagine here, that's not going to work. This, you can't connect because of that, so you have to capture. And then here, that's just an eye. And even if it wasn't an eye, black can come over here, and that's also an eye. So, and then here, is that an eye? That's not an eye. That's the problem. So, if I play here, then you can make an eye here. This one, that's not an eye. So here. So, okay, it looks like black's still dead, but it's a bit more challenging. So you can see how when you're in trouble, look at your opponent's weaknesses and use that as a resource. Like if you review a lot of games with AI, you'll find that it presses everywhere all the time, especially when it's in trouble. It just basically always presses. You can think of Aji as a resource. Maybe you can't cut here directly, maybe if it was another game, but the idea is that you have this shape leaves a weakness behind, and so you can use that in a pinch. That's the idea. Yeah, the idea is that if it's a ladder, so that's bad. So, okay, and black dies. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, black tried to cut. It was quite interesting that black tried to cut it white off, but short on liberties, and it doesn't work. So white's connected and solid, and I'm able to use this weakness later here. So black has to connect, and then can black connect here? Yeah, okay. I think maybe A was an overplay, and I was lucky that black played this way instead. Still, even if it doesn't work in this game, this move exists, and if you're not factoring that into your plans, then this is going to bamboozle you later. And by knowing this, you're probably going to bamboozle some other players later because they leave this weakness all the time. So, okay, I keep these stones, and I'm able to keep the stones in Sente, so that's a slight reduction. It's okay. And from here, it's basically endgame. So here, white is already firmly in the lead, and the game is over. The big issue is that black loses, like, the main issues, I guess, is losing these groups here. And the reason why black loses these groups is because they're not making firm shape. Like, especially around this group here, this one, like, don't, like, keep some distance and let white die in peace. You don't have to strangle. White will die of their own accord. Obviously, that's not always true. You can't follow that rule blindly, but that you could see the suggestions over how it's said to play there. And here as well, don't struggle with C. If the group is going to be lost, just give it up. You don't have to hold on to it. And what else? Be wary of your cut points. So if you be careful about these exchanges that you make, that they might hurt you. And if you have a lot of cut points, you have to think about how to manage them. So if you're playing against a 9-stone handicap, then just keep solid and don't leave them open. And also with G, don't get surrounded. If you get surrounded, then you live small, and white gets these stones on the outside, and the value of these stones on the outside was that I could kill A later. So, just be careful, don't get surrounded, and, make sure that you also have enough space so that you can live, because black got a bit cramped with G and then had to live in Gote. The other thing with H is, in handicap games, if you try and convert your handicap to points directly, it's very inefficient. So you'll lose ground by doing that. If you say, like, I have H, and if it's not clear to me that I can invade or use that later, I will give you H. And that's a poisoned gift. You don't want me to give you H because you use so many stones for it. And meanwhile, I can use those stones on the outside for something else. So that is one way in which you don't lose the game right away. But if you do that many times, then white will end up winning. So I think that kind of like gives a rough overview of things to think about. There's a lot in this game, but if you play more handicaps games with me, if I keep reviewing them like this, I promise you'll improve very, very fast. So let's keep going. Thank you very much for playing this game with me. I know that it's tough to play a handicap game against a stronger player, but this is how you learn. So once again, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Send me your games. I keep a form for those of you to send me your games. May not stay like this for long because I realize now it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to create videos of game reviews. So I don't know if I'll keep it free like this for a long time. It just takes too long. So yeah, enjoy it while it lasts. If you enjoy the video, then I'll see you next time, and I'll see you then.